Mom and Dad, are you ready?
Today's word is stupendous.
You need some encouragement.
Stupendous marriage encouragement.
You need some inspiration.
A lot of people are like, hey, that gives you ground for divorce. You should just leave. And then a lot of people are like, you can never leave. You have to do everything that you can to make the marriage work.
You're listening to The Stupendous Marriage Show
With our friends Stu and Lisa Gray.
Oh, loves that word. Stupendous.
The Stupendous Marriage Show.
Welcome to the Stupendous Marriage Show. I'm Stu Gray.
Hey, I'm Lisa Gray.
It's a show where we answer questions about marriage. You send them to us at onair@stupendousmarriage.com, whatever they might be, and, we just talk about it on the show, and that's what we like to do. And we appreciate your emails, so, again, the email onair@stupendousmarriage.com.
How you doing today, babe?
I am tired because we didn't make it onto The Price is Right live.
I know. It was so disappointing. The Price is Right TV show does, which I just found this out this week, they do a tour where they go around the U.S. and they do shows. They call them live, which is kind of weird because you think The Price is Right is live on TV. But anyways, so they call it live and they don't actually show it on TV or anything, but it is an opportunity.
Show.
Right. It's a stage show where you can go and you can watch it and see how it works. And then also, possibly be a contestant and win stuff. And so I heard about it this week and you were so nice because you were like, okay, when I said, can we go, please?
No, mainly I was like, really? We're going, what? Are you serious? No. And yes, I went along with it. That's fine. But, you had to go 3 hours early for the performance because we didn't buy tickets. So you could either buy tickets and be in the audience or not buy tickets and still have an opportunity to be on their list that they draw from. So we went 3 hours early to sign up to be contestants. And the line was out the door, around the building, like, forever long, and we're like,
right.
Oh, we're never going to get in. This is crazy. We actually went to church. It was a Sunday afternoon that they came, and went back after church, and there was no line.
I know. I couldn't believe it. When you dropped us off the second time, the show was supposed to started at 7, and you had to get registered before 7 to be considered for a contestant. And you dropped us off at maybe like 6:30. And there was no line outside, and we go inside the building. There's no line inside the building. We literally walked up and got registered immediately. I couldn't believe it. And so I called you because, you dropped us off. I didn't want you to go pay to park unless we knew we could actually register. And I remember the first thing I said was, well, I have bad news. We actually can register. So you need to go ahead and park and come inside. And Dean was so excited. It just meant so much to him to just be able to try. And it was super cute. We're standing there before you came in, and he actually just started praying. He grabbed my hand and started praying. And he's like, Lord, please let them pick my mom or dad. And it was just super sweet. And then once you got there, he wanted us to pray again. And he just kept praying like, your will, Lord. But I really want them to do it. It was so funny.
I wish for him we would have made it in. But, for us, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we had not had dinner yet, and then he had school the next day. So, it would have been kind of crazy if they had called our name. I don't know what we would have done. Like, we would have had to buy popcorn and have popcorn for dinner, and then he would have had to, not get any sleep that night or something. So, it was a good thought in my head when I said, hey, Price is Right is coming in town. We should try to get on the show. But I didn't think about the logistics of all the timing and everything. So, it was fun at least.
Yes, so that's a summary of the week, trying to get on The Price is Right live. Yeah,
I feel like we should play the music.
Maybe I'll find it, see if I can find it.
Okay, all right.
We got an email coming up. We're glad you're here. Here's the email for today from onair@stupendousmarriage.com. Hey, Stu and Lisa, by God's grace, I'm slowly moving forward with my spouse after he committed sexual immorality with a girl from a karaoke bar whom he maintained a 1 and 8-month relationship. After the discovery and after our talk, he said the line of communication is still open between them. We're both professing Christians, by the way. I insisted that he stop communicating with the girl, but he rationalized that he can only stop if he sees the girl back on her feet again. It makes me really uncomfortable, and it goes against my belief on what's right and wrong. I'm at a crossroads and having a hard time on what should be my next move. Please help me and enlighten me. Thanks.
That is such a difficult position to be in, especially being believers, being Christians. We don't ever want to give up on our marriages and walk away. But I do believe there are times in our marriages that we have to set boundaries for ourselves. We've got to go, hey, this is not okay, and this is why. I don't know if they're in counseling, because she didn't mention that. But the first step would have to be that, get into counseling and really figure out what it is to why he wants to stay in contact with her. Because I know for me, social media is lovely, but it's really awkward because I've had several guys that I dated way back when, like high school, college, that have wanted to friend me. And some of them I've friended and some I haven't. But every time I've gotten a friend request or any email from them, I've told you about it. Because I just don't want to open any door for the enemy to come in. I would never want to do something. And so just really trying to discern, is that what I'm supposed to do? Is that not what I'm supposed to do as far as connecting with them? And so I would just wonder why he would not see that that's not healthy to continue to be in any relationship with someone that you have had an affair with. Is just not good.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And there are boundaries that are drawn around our marriages for a reason. After he's gone past that boundary and you guys have had this big talk together, there's something obviously still in his spirit that wants to keep that line of communication open. And we were just talking about church and Price is Right. We had a special speaker, John Bevere, came this weekend, and he talked about, we actually played this video during his teaching of this couple, and they sat down at this nice restaurant, and the husband and wife were about to order, and this other guy shows up and sits down next to the wife, and he introduces himself and to the husband, and the husband's confused, and the wife's like, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend. And so you have a boyfriend and a husband, and then another guy walks up and sits down next to the wife, and then all of a sudden you got two boyfriends and a husband, and he's getting frustrated and confused and doesn't understand it, and the wife's like, I don't understand why you're upset. What's wrong? And I like you, and I like you better than these guys. And then a third guy walks up and he gives her a kiss, and the husband gets really upset, and so now there are these three guys with the wife and the husband. And she's like, I don't understand why you're upset. I mean, I've known these guys longer than you, but you're my favorite. You're the one I spend most of my time with. The video gets done, and John Bevere was like, well, why is that not cool in a marriage? Because you don't keep those relationships going. You cut those off. You're supposed to be intimate with one person, and those other relationships that you had in the past are not supposed to keep going. So there's obviously something still brewing in his person, in his mind, in his heart, in his soul about this relationship. And there needs to be something done about that if he's not comfortable shutting it down.
That video that John did, he even said, I know that's kind of odd, because it really was odd, and it was supposed to illustrate how we are with God, that we continue to hold on to these other things in our life oftentimes after we start walking with him, and we don't really put him in his right place, in his rightful place as, the leader in our lives. But it is such a great illustration of marriage too, because I think so many times in marriage, not necessarily other boyfriends are sitting in the chairs beside you, but a lot of times it can be your work.
Sure.
Your work is more important than your marriage. Your children are more important than your marriage. And in this case, this connection, and we've talked about soul ties, he has a soul tie with her that maybe hasn't been broken yet. And so there's just no way around to say that he's doing the right thing here. And so unfortunately, going to counseling, having conversations, and really setting a boundary for yourself to say, look, in order to move forward on this, what you want to do, I mean, you're wanting to still be with him because you guys have reconciled. But in order to continue to move forward, I have to set this boundary. And it's just not optional that you stay in any kind of relationship with this person at all.
Yeah. You said that he wants to stay in the relationship until she gets back on her feet again. That's not his responsibility. And I don't understand why that's anything at all. It sounds like an excuse to me, unfortunately. I had to hit a pretty hard wall in our marriage to realize that there were issues with pornography and stuff. And I needed Lisa to say to me, hey, look, you need to get help or I'm gone. And that's how I remember it. You probably remember the conversation differently, but it was that strong. And it needed to be that strong for me to understand that this was not right. This was wrong. This is what needed to change to continue on. Now, we have continued on, and we are much better than we ever have been. And we are much more in love with one another and the Lord, and our family is thriving. And it's because I hit that hard wall and there was a definite stop sign. There was a definite place like, this is the line. And if you cross it, yeah, well, you know what's going to happen. Maybe he needs that. I'm not saying you should get divorced. I'm saying that you need to set up some things for yourself that he needs to pursue in order to gain your trust back. And we've already talked about not being in contact with the girl, not continuing conversations with her. Perhaps he needs to go get counseling by himself. Perhaps he needs to be in an accountability group. Perhaps he needs whatever other things you think he might need pastoral counseling. Something to say, hey, look, these are the things that I have done that prove that I'm still 100% involved in our marriage, involved with you, want to continue forward, and gain the trust back that has been depleted from this crazy that has happened in your marriage.
Right. Well, and the main way you have to do that is you have to break that relationship off completely. That's like a non-negotiable to me. I do think I want to encourage her, if she's not seeing a counselor, just for her, just to process through what she's gone through in that betrayal, just to try to understand who she is in Christ and to gain her own strength. I would really recommend that. Even if they do couples counseling, I also recommend that she would have a counselor, go to an accountability group, find some people to talk to, because unfortunately, in the Christian atmosphere, I really think that Christians as a whole are divided. If there's an affair happen, a lot of people are like, hey, that gives you ground for divorce. You should just leave. And then a lot of people are like, you can never leave. You have to do everything that you can to make the marriage work. And I'm just like, man, there's a lot of room between those two positions.
Sure.
And each person has to seek the Lord on what's right for them. I have friends that over the past couple of years have gotten divorced. And it makes me sad for them. It makes me sad for them. It makes me sad for their kids. But I'm not them. I'm not in their shoes. I can't tell them what they should or should not do. I don't know the whole story. And I think you should always try to honor God in your decisions. I think you should always move towards your spouse and not away. But there's also a line that they cross at times in marriage when they are no longer honoring you and no longer honoring God by their actions, whether it is, being addicted to pornography, going and having a marital affair, doing drugs, gambling, just whatever it may be that they're doing. And if they are not willing to walk away from those things or pursue a healthier marriage and healthier life, then it may be that you come to that. But, I'm really glad that they have had some conversations. Now, if they can just get over this hump of what's really happening with his attachment with this girl, then hopefully they can really work towards healing their marriage and their relationship.
We do believe in the ministry of reconciliation. We do believe that there is hope for your marriage. We believe that you can get through this. We think that with time and trust rebuilt, you really can move towards a healthy, wonderful marriage and past this bump in the road.
But it has to be both people. For instance, she can forgive him all she wants, but if he doesn't turn away from the things that he's doing and the choices he's making and turn back towards her, she can't help that. And so that's the unfortunate. We can only change ourselves. And so just working on ourselves, setting boundaries when we have to, really pursuing God in the midst of all of it, praying for your spouse, really lifting them up to the Lord to draw them closer to Him. All those things are things that she could definitely do.
We appreciate the email. Thanks so much. And you can always send us yours on air at stupendousmarriage.com.
I think I'm going to go take a nap now. So see you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Like the show? Like the show.
Yeehaw.
Share the podcast. Tell another couple.
Hold up.
Welcome to Stupendous Marriage. They draw from to be a contestant because they can't keep people from. I don't need to keep all say all that. Stop.
She didn't mention that, but the first step.
An 8-month relationship. After the discovery.
Okay, let's start over. Yeah.
Like the show? Like the show. Share the podcast. Tell your married friends.